On then to the elections coming up next month on May the 2nd. No East Midlands councils up for grabs this time, but there is the newly created East Midlands elected mayor, which we'll be taking a closer look at in a couple of weeks. And then there are the votes for your county's Police and Crime Commissioner. Now, Derbyshire, Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire, all Conservative at the moment and all up for grabs next month. We'll be hearing from the Leicestershire hopefuls a bit later, but first, what do you want to hear from candidates and what does the role actually mean? Well, I met up with our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball in Leicester after he'd been talking to voters there.
Well, this is your chance to decide what the police make their priorities, as well as how much you pay for the police and also what else the PCC supports. Now, campaign leaflets, you've probably seen them already popping through the letterboxes. Candidates tend to be supported by political parties, and those candidates, if they win, can hire and fire the chief constable. They also help decide how much you pay for the police. They decide what to do with that money too, and also where the focus is, how much they focus on, things like burglary and putting officers on the beat, and how much they focus on really serious hidden problems, from cybercrime to terrorism to domestic violence. So I've been asking people, first of all, on Belgrave Road here in Leicester, what matters most to them?
I think there should be more police on the streets, so people will feel a bit safer.
The shoplifting things is absolutely ridiculous. People, if they're stealing under 300 quid, they're not getting arrested. They need to arrest someone if they nicked up a chocolate bar.
Like nighttime is more like we're a bit scared nighttime. So if it's police more visible.
So many people is like doing the drug dealings in this area. The night time especially, very sometimes is fighting.
And Jeremy, this isn't just about policing, is it?
No, it's not, Geeta. I mean, the PCC's also use some of our money for crime prevention, for instance. So, they'll give out sometimes quite small grants to things like youth groups or knife crime projects. And there is another really important balancing act they've got to strike. How much do they want their forces to focus on trouble spots, often in the cities, if that means taking officers away from quieter rural areas? So I've been out to Oakham in Rutland, which is also in the Leicestershire Police Force area, to ask people there what they think.
I would like to see more police officers on the beat, definitely more, because visually you don't ever see a policeman walking around anymore.
Could look at how best they can actually improve the road safety without spending too much money.
There are no policemen on the beat that we ever see.
Maybe drink driving and maybe having more police on the roads.
How political are these elections?
Well, they are political, and I think you can expect a lot of arguments about whether things are getting better or getting worse. And I would say really question that. Everything from police funding to police numbers to crime figures. You can make a case depending on whether you look over the short term or the long term, for instance, whether you count online crime in those crime figures, for instance, also whether you take into account things like the growing population and inflation. So, really question those arguments. One other thing to look out for is debates getting bogged down by, high-profile controversies, rather than focusing on some really important issues that affect everybody's day-to-day lives.